unleaded 92 octane a night.
Right.
Where I didn't go to the track this year without a 55-gallon drum of methanol.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest here.
Yeah.
And that's one thing is that, and working with Doug Van Zandt in Extreme Fire and Rescue, they've done test burns where they have taken a coffee can full of gasoline and a coffee can full of methanol. And the heat difference on them is insane.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The heat difference, the energy stored in the gasoline is far more, it's more volatile. I mean, you get near that thing to light it off, and it goes up. You actually have to work to get the methanol to fire off.
Yeah, and the thing about methanol, too, is scary. During the day, you can't see that stuff.
Yeah,
No, you cannot see it
That's
burn.
where I was going. You can't see it.
That's a scary thing because, I mean, I've known some people that were actually working on welding on a race car that had methanol, and there was a leak, and they were on fire for a little bit and didn't even know, and ended up with some major skin grafts and,
Yep.
So this must be on the 5-horse Briggs because I've never really given it a lot of thought that the gas tank's on the motor. I've never been around anybody that caught on fire or anything like that. This ought to be a no-brainer.
Right.
A fuel pump's not that much money. A fuel tank down between your legs where it belongs.
Right.
Get it away from the motor. That's an absolute no-brainer to me.
Absolutely,
I
100%.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's a safety issue.
And it's the kids that are running them that way mostly.
A lot of the kids are running those engines with those, and I've been against that for years. But one person.
Well, maybe this will help get it going in the right direction.
Things happen for a reason. I agree.
Yeah.
It points out that, hey, look, this is a possibility. This is what can happen.
Yeah. And luckily, it happened to someone that is experienced in the racing communities, like Jeremy, who's been around it since he was knee high to a grasshopper. I mean,
and obviously a good fire crew there that was on top of it.
It sounded like they got there pretty quick.
It sounds like
I
know Jason was running. I was following on Facebook, and it sounds like Jason ran across the indoor track.
Yeah, the length of the track carrying an extinguisher. So.
I mean, it's safety's paramount when you're racing. I mean, I don't care if you're racing.
Well, and that brings up something too. That because you got your flaggers on the middle. They're still running. They still have people in the middle. I assume I haven't been to Salem yet this year, but
I haven't.
They have caution flaggers in the middle. One thing that I did like about when we went down to Bakersfield, the Bakersfield has extinguishers
now
for 4 or 5 different types of fires,
right,
placed around the racetrack. So if someone's in that area, they can grab it and get there faster. While the truck, maybe that's something they can think about doing. I mean, having them placed out there in the infield for. Your certified safety guys to use or whatever.
Exactly, and that's where with Extreme and with Willamette Speedway, every truck that goes onto the track, whether it's a fire apparatus, the medic truck, the dirt truck, or our tow trucks, they have fire suppression systems on board, whether it's a pump and tank system or it's extinguishers or both.
Right.
They've got those on board. And last race of the year, we had a street stock that had a little bit of a combustion issue. And I ended up running from the center of the racetrack out with an extinguisher. I mean,
yeah, I remember watching that. But I think that and there's a lot to be learned from Jeremy's accident. Whether it's personal safety. Jeremy, I know he's not a full-time racer.
Yeah.
I did notice in the picture that he wasn't wearing a fire suit.
But that's not to say he didn't put one on before he got in the cart.
Well, right. But most full-time, most guys that don't race full-time aren't going to own a fire suit.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that.
There's no rule on having a fire suit?
No, there's guys that still race in hoodies and jeans.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, even in the upper divisions, the big cars.
Yeah, and I think as if I were to own a racetrack, hypothetically, if I'm a racetrack owner, you are not racing in jeans and a shirt or a jacket, a car jacket. You're going to have a fire suit. You're going to have an up-to-date helmet. You're going to have gloves, shoes, the whole deal. I don't want somebody, if I'm on a racetrack, that's going to go out and get in a wreck and can't get out because there's a fire and they panic and.
When you look at it here, all the rules that I've seen, and correct me if I'm wrong, the rules I've seen say that you have to have a Snell rated helmet. Part of the Snell rating is a fire suppression. It's fire retardant.
Right, but that Snell rating is also good for 5 years.
Exactly.
So if you buy a helmet in 2010 and wear it for 5 years, I mean, how effective is that going to be 5 years later after you've been racing and sweating and, on and off in the dirt and getting bounced? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, what's the point, guys, of having a fire-rated helmet when you're wearing a Carhartt jacket or a motorcycle jacket and a set of denim jeans?
I agree. When it comes to personal, like I mean, even in the cart, I have a 3-layer fire suit. It's totally overkill, not even necessary to have a 3-layer. But there's always that risk, and Jeremy, his incident had proved that. I mean, I'm glad he didn't get burned or caught on fire, being the fact that he was probably wearing a hoodie, it was cold outside, or a jacket or something. But, that stuff isn't it's just not worth it.
No, not to me either. I mean, I have, granted, when I'm working with Extreme, in my background before I got into racing was emergency services. So I have it in me that if there's an incident, I don't care what I'm doing, I'm going.
Well,
but at the same time, when we're there, everybody's wearing some type of flashover protection or fire protection. When, the last race of the year, I was in a single layer suit. So I've got a couple seconds before I'm starting to feel a little itchy and scratchy.
Now, the hell night that you talk about when all the incidents were going down, it was really hot outside. Everything was happening. Now, Warren and I actually had a good laugh because we were watching you guys. And aren't you guys wearing 4-layer fire suits? Most of you guys are 4-layer. Almost NHRA type safety crew type stuff.
Yes. Anything with the flames on it.
Right.
With the flames.
So you were wearing one of those that night, and I will never forget, and Warren and I kind of had to giggle about, you guys were all over the place, and you guys were sweating worse than any racer that was there. And I just thought to myself, man, those guys are in 4-layer fire suits. It's 95 degrees, and they're working harder.
Over 95, I believe.
Yeah, it was hot.
Yeah.
Well, and I think, too, that was the night we had driver appreciation. So we have to get suited up, work, and then you have to sit in the sun.
Yeah. And you guys are out in the middle of the track. There's no shade out there all day long.
And there's no breeze half the time either. The only time you get a breeze is when the late models are on the track because they're going so fast.
Yeah.
They're creating a tornado effect.
But you know what? Given all that, I don't care.
Hats off to you guys.
Well, and even if you're wearing, a 4-layer suit and you lose 8-10 pounds a day and it's water weight, I don't care. I'd rather have that than to be unsafe.
Well, and that's where I think it was that night I went through 2 gallons of water.
Yeah.
2 gallons of water just in the time we were on track.
Right. So
let's not relive Hell Night again, please.
That was, you know what? That really, and that wasn't just for you guys. That was just a bad night of. It's one of those nights, kind of Murphy's Law kicks into high gear, and what could go wrong went wrong.
Yeah.
It was. I know Warren was all over the place in the quad that night, and he nearly. I mean, he was right there, head on with Terry Hall when that happened.
And,
And we talked about it later, and Warren's kind of looked at me like he says, "Wow." He goes, that was bad. He goes, it was. I mean, he was looking at Terry and eye to eye when Terry hit the wall.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think we need to reiterate the Crockers call-in line and see if we can get somebody to call in and see if there's something somebody else would like to talk about or something we can clarify or anything.
Well, we've got Doc here on the Swears Trucking chat line. He just says,
Doc?
at ease, man.
Doc's photos?
Doc's photos.
Oh, turn him off.
He said,
he says, we love you, Doc.
At ease, man. Rob, feel free to give us a call on the Crockers Cars call-in line.
He won't.
Who's this?
Doc.
Oh, okay.
He's called in. That was an interesting conversation.
Come on, Doc. You can do it. Dial the number.
Don't encourage him.
Oh, come on.
Anybody.
But it would be nice to hear.
Let's
hear what the fans have to say and think, or what you guys want to talk about. I know that a lot of guys are really starting to get on their cars heavy right now, and
absolutely,
new cars are coming. A lot of guys with new cars. It's been interesting to see who's buying what.
I think Gray posted on Facebook. He bought a new car.
He did. He bought a new Shaw.
Who did the old one go to?
The old that was the who did buy that car? I read it and now
I read it too and I can't think of who.
But that's a good race car. That was a good race car. Whoever bought that car is getting a good ride.
Gray's really coming up, man.
Well, I'll tell you what, he looked
every time out.
He was pretty fast down there in Vegas.
He was.
And
he was fast at Bakersfield. He made
was.
the show.
He did.
And he's.
So he's been. He got
you
fast.
can tell just being around him, he's into it. He's not there to play.
He's got
absolutely.
a big passion for the
real.
sport, and that's one of the guys that jumped in on Thompson's and grabbed a welder and said, "Hey, let's get this fixed," and went to work, and there was no questions asked.
Yep.
There was 4 or 5 guys in that group of cars that could have been working on their own stuff, or for their driver that jumped in to help Brian, and it was cool.
Yeah.
It was cool to see that, and I
Brian,
miss that.
if you're listening, you could call in. Oh, geez.
It happens.
I don't know why they're here in the studio, but
that's all right.
Somebody decided to open the door and let them in.
That might have been me.
No,
that's all right.
But if it was, that's me.
Anyway,
now I'm glad I didn't go to Vegas. Of Corey's over
Hey,
here
no,
talking.
no. You wanna hear something funny about
missed
Vegas?
out on a good time. Bud. That's all
Let
there
me
is
tell
to
you
it.
about Vegas. So, it was kind of a last-minute thing to go. I mean, it wasn't like we planned it out for long. That's a deal where, it draws a lot of people. And there was some other things going on in Vegas at the time where getting a hotel room was a task.
God.
It was a task to get a hotel room. We got rooms. We got rooms, and the bad part about that is where we stayed, you actually had to have a handgun to get in.
It was a prerequisite.
It was,
You had to have your own handgun.
it's a joke, Joel. It's
Oh, dang it. I thought you were talking about like the best hotel ever for me.
no. Far from that. It was interesting. I actually had to change rooms, and I know Warren did too.
Yeah.
It was a bit scary.
It was. A
I'm pretty
last-minute
sure
deal.
four doors down from me. I'm pretty sure that was a mini brothel.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what was going on down there.
Yeah.
As we were signing in, Big Willie signed in, and he come. I'm not kidding you.
Everybody there knows Willie.
Willie
Everybody.
comes pulling
He's
up
on
in his
first name
drop
basis.
top Cadillac. He's bumping the beats, and he's Big Willie. He comes walking in, and he looks at the
Fuzzy dice hanging off the mirror.
yeah diamond
Straight
tuck,
out of the 80s.
diamond tuck velvet seats, lowrider, hitting switches on the
Big gold
hydraulics,
chains.
glitter in the paint. Big Willie.
Yeah.
And this is no joke. So he comes walking in, right? We're still signing. We're paying in, getting all our stuff signed in. And Willie comes walking in, and he looks at us, kind of gives us the nod, looks at the clerk behind the desk and says, "I'll take room 313." And the clerk says, "That room's full." He goes, "I'll take 311." And just walked on down the hallway to 311. He must have had a key because Willie got in. There was no sign in. He didn't sign in. He didn't even pay. He just he was a regular. They knew Willie. Willie was
It was.
So
Bottom line, this place was a truck stop.
pretty much
It was right next to a truck stop.
truck
I should
stop,
say.
gas station, brothel,
Tire center.
kind of hair
It was,
care.
It was shady to say the least.
But it was fun.
It was.
It was exciting. You didn't know what was going to happen from 1 minute to the next.
Yeah. So did y'all make it any casinos?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Well,
The night that we went out.
Warren decided to do a little gambling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I put a 20 in and I cashed out a $691 ticket.
And
First thing, just right out of the gate. But this is after I had 1.5 of those fifth per drink.
So at one point, I was pretty sure, and I would have bet on it, that we were going to get kicked out of the casino because Warren starts rolling. He is on the roll. The money's coming in. He's racking it up, and he's playing a machine where I don't know what the game was, but you had to get as many buffaloes as you could. And I'll guarantee you every single person in that casino could hear us yelling buffaloes. Buffaloes! Buffaloes! And he was like, and the buffaloes would come up and ding, 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 ding. And he walked away with $1,100.
Yeah.
Dude, you need to wear a shirt next time you go out in public that says, "I'm an announcer. It's okay."
No.
No, I need to wear one that says I'm drunk.
I have never drank so little and been
Oh man.
affected like that.
I bet you guys are just dehydrated.
I think they put something in their drinks.
I remember why I don't drink anymore.
Yeah, and that's true.
It
but like I said, I drink 2 beers and I'm toast.
All right, we're waiting on callers. Come on, Come on, people.
I guess that's
call
our
in.
clue to get off that subject.
Oh yeah.
It was the whole Vegas thing overall was it was an experience of a lifetime.
It was also a lesson.
A lesson.
for down the road. We learned a lot that trip. It was a fun trip.
It was.
Yeah, you learn not where not to buy drinks at.
Or where
Yes.
to. It depends
Yeah.
on how you,
no, I'm never.
depends on
No.
how you look at it.
I'll tell you that bartender's name. Do you remember his name? The Hawaiian guy.
No, but I'm sure you do. You remember Chassis names, everything else very well.
How do you forget the name Chucky?
Chucky?
Chucky.
That was it?
Yes, Hawaiian guy named Chucky. Now, and Chucky, he's kind of like the mean little doll of mixed drinks.
Oh, he was
You know what I
something
mean?
else. He was flipping bottles and
He
my
put on.
God.
Yeah, it was like we were in a movie. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, he
That's
looked
awesome.
like Tom Cruise.
Man, everybody looks like a celebrity to you.
Yeah.
Kelsey Foley's dad looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger. The bartender looks like Tom Cruise. I'm starting to wonder what he thinks
there-
we look like here.
There's songs that go with everybody too. So, that's just how I look at things.
Yeah, he's got an interesting perspective.
Yeah.
He does.
Yeah.
I like throwing a twist on it. That's my twist.
told me I looked like Chris Farley. I didn't think that was very nice.